So today we're going to be installing 16 solar panels. They're going to be roof mounted up on top of our workshop roof. Hey guys, I'm Evan and welcome to Country View Acres. And from up here on the roof today, it is definitely going to be a very nice view. It is a beautiful day out today. So we're going to install a single row of solar panels, and they're going to go almost the entire length of this lower porch roof. But before we do that, we actually have to put the roof racking up, and that is the mounting system for the solar panels. So we need to start getting that attached to the roof first. So I ended up buying a system called Snap and Rack, and I'm not sure exactly what's the best system to use on a roof, but this is what I decided to use. I got it in a black color to match the roof. It's just basically, it's got a channel in here that you bolt your solar panels to. It's aluminum, it's fairly light, and hopefully it's going to be easy to work with on the roof. So to attach the rail to our roof, I've got a mounting bracket here that is specifically designed for a metal roof. It's got a rubber pad here on the bottom to help seal against the metal roof and make sure you don't have any leaks. And the way this works is this little piece on the bottom just comes out. And then you can see you got a hole in there. And you use a lag bolt. We're going to use like a 3.5-inch lag bolt. And we're going to go all the way through that into the roof truss. And then this gets securely mounted to the roof. And then we're going to attach this back onto there. And then our rail sits up here. And then this is adjustable up and down and side to side so that you can make sure everything's nice and straight. So we've located our first truss and we've measured off the bottom of the roof, and we're going to go ahead and pre-drill. So even though this has a rubber seal on the bottom, we're going to add some sealant around the outer edge just to guarantee that it will stay sealed and that we don't have any leaks. Put our lag screw through here. And the cool thing about this is this whole system is all going to go together with a 1/2-inch impact. So I shouldn't have to change bits. Apparently I should have drilled a bigger hole. Switch this out for a bigger drill bit. I got one in here. I brought one just in case. So I've got my first 2 roof attachment points at this end. Now I got to measure all the way to the other end and put in the other side so that we can run a string in between them to make sure that we put everything in straight. So we've got our string ran from the center of the anchor all the way to the other end. So now we can start putting these in every 4 feet into a truss. So I just finished mounting all of the attachment points. So now we can go ahead and start putting up the snap and rack rail. At least they're light. Thank you. So this should just snap into these. I'm going to try to line this up. In the same spot. There you go, just snapping right in. So I lined the top one up with the side of one of these ribs on the metal roofing. I'm going to do the same thing here, and then we'll know they're straight with each other. We'll snap it in place. So I'm just going to snug these up just a little bit. I still want it to slide up and down. So I'm just buttoning these up next to each other as we snap these in place. Well, I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking so far. The next thing we need to do is where each one of these sections meet and come together, we have to put a splice. And that's gonna bond those two rails together. It's gonna make sure that they stay nice and straight. But when I say bond, it has some clips on here that will dig into the aluminum, and it's gonna guarantee that each one of these is electrically bonded, so that when we ground this, every piece on this system is grounded. So I'm going to go ahead and put these splices on. They just go up underneath, and then when you tighten it down, it'll dig into the metal and bond it. So this splice just goes underneath. Get your rails up inside of it, and then tighten it down. And I don't think I had one in quite right. There we go. A lot better. Now they look nice and straight. I will say, I don't think you could have picked a better day for this. Well, I think I'm finished with the roof rack system. I've tightened up all of the bolts. Everything looks nice and straight. Everything looks nice and level. So I think we're to the point where we can start trying to put some solar panels up here. There goes my ladder. My ladder just fell off. It's getting too windy for this. You realize how them solar panels are gonna be? Like a big sail. Well, it's getting windy out here, and Rebecca is nice enough to set my ladder back up because it actually fell down. And she's been kind of sitting here spotting me all day, making sure I don't do anything dumb. So luckily she's here to put my ladder back up. Hopefully this wind is not going to hurt us when we install these solar panels. So these are all 16 of our solar panels, and it's kind of a trick to make sure that they don't fall over when you unload these. We're going to put a pipe clamp on here just to keep them together while we take these apart. Moment of truth. Stay right there. And let's hope that the wind doesn't get these, or else I'll have some destroyed panels. So the solar panels we bought are 460 watts, and we've got 16 of them, so that's around 7,300 and some watts that we have. And we're gonna hook 8 of these together in a string. So there's gonna be 2 arrays of 8, and we hook those up in series. So what that means is the positive of this panel is gonna hook to the negative of this panel, and then the positive hooks to the negative, and you make, it's basically like a big row of batteries all in a row, like the old flashlights where you used to stack the batteries in there. It's kind of the same thing. So you've got a bunch of solar panels in a row, and then that voltage adds up, and this is going to be somewhere around 400 volts when it's done, when 8 of those are together. So according to the National Electric Code, any solar panels that you put on top of a roof or a structure need to have a rapid shutdown system. And what that is each panel will basically have a module for each panel, and it will turn those panels off. Now, it doesn't turn it completely off. It turns it from like 40 to 50 volts that these would be. It turns it down to a very low voltage, a safe voltage. And this is what one of those modules looks like. This is a rapid shutdown module. Instead of this one being for one panel, this is actually a dual, and it will hook up to 2 panels at a time. And the way this works is there's a rapid shutdown system, and it sends out, when everything is good, it sends out a heartbeat. And when this senses the heartbeat, that pulse on your PV wires, it'll turn your solar panels on so they can produce power. But if that is not hooked up, every one of these panels will be off in a safe voltage. And that's what's going to happen today. Well, we're hooking them up. As we put these modules in there, it's going to make sure that the voltage is actually low. It's not going to be 400 volts as we're hooking this up today. It's going to be a nice, safe voltage as we're hooking it up to these rapid shutdown systems. Now, the way that shutdown works is you locate an e-stop or an emergency shutdown or some type of switch, and that's going to be located on the edge of the exterior of the building or near where your power comes in. So when you have a fire, a firefighter can easily identify it, and they can turn off the voltage on your solar system so they don't get electrocuted while they're trying to put out a fire. So these solar panels are huge, and they weigh a ton. And you were looking at the back side earlier. You can see that the front side is nice and black. It's a monocrystalline panel. And these are actually from a company called, what is it called? Blue Sun. And I never heard of them before. I bought them off of Signature Solar. They ended up being the perfect size to fit the length of my roof. And they ended up having a 30-year warranty. Most solar panels have a 25-year warranty, and these had a 30. So I ended up purchasing these, and hopefully they're going to work out fine for me. But we're going to go ahead and start getting the solar panels up there, and hopefully the wind isn't a problem. So I think we're going to try to see if we can lift the solar panels up to the roof with the tractor. We're not 100% sure this will work, if it's going to necessarily lift it high enough. But if this does work, it's going to save us a bunch of labor carrying each one of these up by hand.
Not touching, but you were close.
Let's try there. Don't leave your tools underneath the solar panel. So before I get too far mounting these solar panels, since they're in series and it's basically negative to positive, the negative wire is going to be all the way down there, and the positive wire is going to be all the way here. So I need to run the positive back down that direction. And that's what I have. I have some PV wire. So according to National Electric Code, any solar panel wiring that is outside in the sunlight or the weather has to be PV wire. And that's what we're going to run from this end down to the middle, where we're going to end up having a junction box, and our wires are going to go inside the building. So this is 10 gauge PV wire, which is plenty big for what we're doing. And the connectors on the solar panels are called MC4 connectors. We've got new connectors here that we're going to put on this wire so we can connect it up exactly the same way. So they make crimping tools to put these MC4 connectors on, and just basically got to crimp on a pin. So after you get your pin on, put it into your connector. It'll lock in place, and then you got to just tighten up the back of it so it holds the wire nice and firm and makes it watertight. So I'm just going to feed this wire down the inside of our rail down to the middle where our junction box will be. So now I'm going to pre-wire the rapid shutdown systems to each other down the way, and then I'm going to wire them to the panels as I lay them on the roof. Well, we've got the first 8 panels on the roof. I'm starting to try to, kind of get in a rhythm to how I'm going to put these on and wire them up. So we went ahead and loaded the last 8. Hopefully I can get this done in the next few minutes. So we ended up putting a couple big pieces of wood here to drive the tractor on, and they gave us that extra 3 inches we needed so we could actually get the forks above the roof. And it's been unloading a little bit easier this last time. So wiring the back of these panels is a little bit of a mess. So I did end up buying these clips that you clip on the edge of the panel so you can hold your wires. And I'm trying to hold them in as many places as I can, but it's still kind of messy. But once you lay the panel down, you'll never see it. All right, I've got all 16 solar panels installed, and turned out really good. Really happy with it. I'm glad I got this done in one day. That was a lot of work. So I didn't install a junction box under one of the panels where I could wire it into the house, and I also didn't bring a ground out of that junction box and ground the solar array. I still have to do that. I'm missing one piece to make the roof penetration, and I want to make sure I have everything when I cut a hole in the roof. So I'm going to come back later and I'll have to slide one of those panels down so that I can do that and get that hooked up and wired inside the building. But overall, the solar array is at least mounted and done. I've just got a couple finishing touches left to do. So I think that's everything I'm going to do with the solar array right now. 16 panels, 460 watts each. That's 7,360 watts is what I think it is. So that's a pretty good start towards solar and being a little more self-sufficient with power, lowering the electric bill. But pretty happy with the way this all turned out. My pitch of my roof is not ideal. It is, I think it's 412 pitch, which is like 18.5 degrees. So it's definitely not, the most ideal roof for solar. It'll do good in the summer, probably do a lot worse in the wintertime. But I like having it up here because I've got plans for all of this space. And you got to understand, this side of the yard right here is going to be shaded by the house. And then that side of the yard is going to be shaded by the house. And there's really not a lot of sunny real estate unless you get out past the garden over there. So that's actually pretty far away from the house to be running solar over here. But yeah, definitely happy with the way this all turned out. And it was just a beautiful day to be on the roof. So I did mention the National Electric Code a couple times while we were putting this in, but there is some building code as well. So you do need to leave at least a 3-foot walkway for firefighters to get to the ridge of your building. So we did leave 3 feet at that end, and you can see over here we've actually got at least 3 feet on this end as well. Plus we have the whole other side, so I think we're good. And then you have to leave 3 feet down, you have to leave a 3-foot path along the ridge. So you can't put solar panels all the way up to the peak. You need to leave them at least 3 feet off the peak of your house so firefighters can walk along the ridge and open up the roof for ventilation if there's a fire. But anyway, that's part of the building code. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. You just can't put your solar panels everywhere and cover the entire roof. So you just got to be aware that you need to leave a few clear places, especially along the ridge for firefighters. So I know I shouldn't have been doing this job by myself today. Rebecca is scared of heights. She doesn't want to get on a roof. I decided to try to do this myself today. That was my decision, and I took a chance. I took some risks. I realized that. But I did get this installed today, and I didn't get hurt. And that's a good thing, but I did take risks. I didn't do it quite safely. So please do not follow my example when it comes to this job. So definitely needed to have probably at least 2 people on the roof to carry the modules and install them, or the solar panels, and probably 3 people would be good for this job. So you had a person on the ground that could come up and down and bring you anything you might need. So definitely suggest do not try to do this without at least 2 people. It is a big job, and these solar panels are very heavy. I'm not sure exactly how much they weigh, but they're definitely a 2-man lift. I'll try to look up the weight and put it on the screen. But these are heavy, very big panels. I can't remember. They're as tall as I am, I believe. I think they're like, I was thinking they're like 80 some inches tall. I mean, they're a big panel. So weight, actually they're taller than I am. I'm not a very big guy. So yeah, this was a very big job. I am definitely sore. I can feel it in my muscles. I'm gonna feel it tomorrow for sure. But I think that's gonna wrap up this video. I'm ready to get inside and relax the rest of the night. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.